welcome to my video putting together one of the cards from the March class by mail, which is all about butterflies. And so this card is the center flap card, that's what we'll call it. And in your kit you have a piece of black cardstock that is my standard A2 size, so it is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. You also have a piece of basic white cardstock, and this one is just under 3 inches. I wanted to have a little bit of gap of the black showing, so you'll see that when it gets put together. So I needed this to be just, I would have loved 3 inches, but I needed to go a little under 3 inches, so I think it's 2 7/8, and then 11 inches. And this one we're gonna fold in half and give it a score. And this actually is gonna become your card, so that's gonna go in the center there. Then we have 3 beautiful butterflies. Again, this is all from that one sheet of Designer Series paper and 2 strips of Designer Series paper, and this happens to be the edges. So just to show you what I did here with this Designer Series paper, I just loved that Stampin' Up! Did this. Unfortunately, this paper, I believe, is sold out and we can't get it, but I'm hoping maybe they'll come up with another one that works like this. So this is one of the dies, this set. This is the Butterfly Brilliance bundle, and it's pretty incredible. I honestly wasn't going to get it because sometimes I feel like how many butterflies can I have? But I just couldn't resist when I saw how this all worked. This is one rubber stamp piece that's all attached. You could cut it apart if you wanted to, but it is intended to be attached because then this die fits over top. And cuts all of those out. So what I would suggest is, if you do get this bundle, that you use this with the stamp positioner, so so that you have an opportunity to re-ink a couple of times, because it is quite a large surface area, and then you can die cut them all out with this, which is super cool. And then there's also, so in addition to this one large die, there's also all of these, and there's 2 missing because I've got them set aside for preparing the kits, of these detailed butterflies plus some background pieces. So a very cool set, and when you see it with the paper, it's just, once I saw this, I was like, yep, looks like I have to have that. So I was able to die cut all 6 of the butterflies we're using in this entire class from one sheet of Designer Series paper, and then the edges here that were left over I used in this card. So really got a lot of mileage out of this set and this Designer Series paper, so I thought that was super cool. All right, so back to what we've got here. So those are the 2 strips of the Designer Series paper. We also have another large piece of the Designer Series paper that's going to fit right on the front. So I think I cut it at 5 1/4 by, it's probably 2 5/8, if this is 2 7/8, so something like that, pretty close to it. And then I stamped a sentiment piece and punched it with a circle punch, and I used the Bermuda Bay ink for this, matches with this paper. And the thanks comes from the same stamp set I used sentiments for a couple of the other cards, and that's the Simply Succulent set. So here's the thanks stamp that I used from that set. So those are all the pieces. Let's go ahead and get started. So I'm calling this a center flap card, and really there's a couple of ways you can design this type of a card. You could have had a full, let's see, do I have one here? You could have had a full cardstock like this. So let me put this aside for a minute. So this would be 4 1/4 by 11, and then scored at 5 1/2. So this would, so it becomes your A2 card, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And you could take this and just cut away, you know, on this edge and just cut down here like this. And then that would be your flap card. Okay, so that is one way to do it. I thought this way might be easier for a class by mail. And so we just have the base piece, and then we've made, instead of cutting away the flaps, we've made a very thin card to go on top. Okay, all right, let's go ahead and put everything together. So we'll start with this Designer Series paper piece. It's really pretty on the back too. And we're gonna attach it to that narrow white card. It's gonna just attach this right to the front. It's a pretty narrow border on this one. Just take your time getting that on. And then I'm going to attach these 2 strips. Now these are longer than your card. It just allows you to kind of put it whatever way you want and then trim the extra off, okay? So get some adhesive on here, and I'm going to just do it the most simple way. I'm just going to butt it right up against the edge, and I'm just leaving a very narrow black border, and it's going right to the top. Okay, right to the top of this base, and leaving a narrow black border on the edge, like so. And then I'll do the same thing with this one, if I can pick it up here. So same thing, butt it right up to the top, very narrow border along the edge. Okay, and then you can go ahead and just trim this extra off. We do not need that. All right, I like to get those pieces down just so I can definitely get this centered. And see how I will have that black, that narrow black border showing. That's why I needed to get this a little under 3 inches. Okay, so let's go ahead and put some adhesive on the back of this, and I'd make sure you get a decent amount. Okay, and I'm gonna put it this way just so I can line up the top and see both of my borders right here. So I want to be able to see those, line it up to the top, and make sure those, okay, just like that. And then what you end up with is this nice card with the white inside so you can write your message. And I just think that's super pretty. So it's just a little different than what we normally do. I think that's kind of fun. So there you have it. And then we'll go ahead and we'll decorate the front. And it's pretty simple. We're just going to add our butterflies in any way that you like. I do like a little bit hanging off the edges because that's kind of cute when you lift it up. And then we also have a metal rim circle tag and our sentiment piece that I'm going to just glue down flat the sentiment piece onto that metal rim tag. And if you wanted to add some ribbon, you could just put this on and then punch through that hole and add some ribbon to there. I decided to not use ribbon on this one because one of our cards has a lot of ribbon on it. Okay, so there, I've got that down. All right, and I think I'm gonna put this to the side like this. So again, it's off the edge and just looks really pretty. And So with the butterflies, they are on cardstock, so you do have a little bit of strength to them, but still just be careful if you decide to do a little bit of curling the wings. Just be gentle with it. You can use a bone folder, you can use the edge of a pencil, you can just use your thumbnail. I just love to get, it's just so much nicer than it just being flat. Just love that. Okay. And now we're just going to go ahead and put them down. I think I'm going to use some tear tape down the center of these butterflies, down the back of their body. And then where we have a little bit of lift on the wings, we can go in and put some dimensionals on there, and that'll help it pop up and help it stay up and keep that shape. And with the dimensionals, you can even double them up if you'd like. So here's where I've got this one a little bit too big. And so I'm going to just pull this back onto itself. I didn't do that very flat, but that's okay. It'll be fine. That take your pick tool is pretty helpful for some of these. Just helps you get that up. Okay, and I think there a little bit of that needed to be folded in as well. Okay, and so I'm going to get some dimensionals. And like I said, you could double it up, so let me just show you that with this one. No, I'll do it with this one. So if you want extra thickness, you just pull the backings off and then just plop another one right on top. And that's nice and thick. Kind of have to get those dimensionals out a little further. I could have used the smaller dimensionals for that smaller butterfly. Getting things sticking to me all over the place. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to start with this one right here. I like to get that center in and then just kind of make sure the wings are going to have some depth to them. Okay, so now this one. Make sure that centers down good. And then here's the one that we did double duty on the dimensionals. Let's see how that turns out. So I want to make sure I get, make sure I get it the way I want it. Right here. I don't want this the top part of it to go off the edge either, because I want to make sure it's going to fit in the envelope. So get that center body down, and then let's see if that's, yep, that's down good. So you can see how much extra thickness that gives this butterfly. So its wings are really popped up compared to the other two. So just another way you can do that. And then I'm going to put this one down flat, and I just want to have adhesive on this side so that it doesn't glue this closed on me. So this side, sure I get plenty on there. It's a really, oops, that's a really pretty font for this. I like that Thanks font a lot. Right about there. Okay, there we go. And then this card is all finished. And you know, if you want, you can come in with some Wink of Stella, if you have some Wink of Stella, and you can always add a little bit to your butterflies, because you know, we always love a little bit of bling or glitter. And it's a super simple thing to do. So there we go. And there's our finished card, and it has a cute little opening like that. So I just think that's really kind of fun. I hope you enjoyed that one. Thank you.